This is Destiny Global TV, and today is the 2nd of September. It's a new month, obviously, and the two videos that we did previously, Time and Change and Rich, the Poor and the Wealthy, they all fall into this theme. We're going to be talking about the secret inside of you. But I want to recap on those two videos, because those two videos were the initial philosophy that path that we were going down. And so many of our viewers responded and commented on them. So if you're one of those people who haven't commented on them yet, please do so. What do we have secret inside of each of us? And I would just like to say one thing before we go on. If what you see is not what you saw, therefore what you see is temporary. What I mean is, no matter what you're going through now, that circumstances is not going to be permanent. You must dig deep inside of you to know that there's greater in you. God has made each and every one of us with gifts, with purposes within us. And until we discover those secrets, we will never fulfill our purpose. Now, let's move into the secrets that you could say is been hidden in each of us. I think, and when I read different autobiography and different people who have made it, you can look, but the Bible is one that you have to go back to see. When Solomon said about wisdom, this is very, very important secret. You cannot be successful in any part of your life if you do not acquire knowledge. What is knowledge? Every day we know there's libraries, there's tapes, there's things on TV that we do not watch what gives us knowledge. We prefer to watch things lightly on YouTube, just keep going from one thing to the other. That does not give us or expand on our knowledge. We need knowledge to be able to succeed. But we can have the wrong knowledge. If you look at the majority of countries, even what is happening now, a lot of these presidents and prime ministers in a lot of third world country has misused their power. Because the knowledge that they have, they become overzealous with it. It's erroneous power, and then they lead their country into third world that these countries is always dependent on other countries. The reason why I use that example is you can have misguided knowledge. Imagine someone, I'm sorry to say that, who is a fool who gains a little knowledge. As they said, a little knowledge is very dangerous. Because if you give a fool a little knowledge and he goes about spreading that knowledge, can you imagine at the end of it how many fools he has multiplied? We cannot afford to be in touch with those type of people. I remember, and I'll draw from that experience, when I was in Jamaica, my aunt usually said to me, Bobby, there's certain people that you do not mix with, and there's certain people that you mix with. She used the saying, we're birds of a feather, but we shouldn't flock together. Why does she say that, even at such an early age? Because she knows if you mix with someone who hasn't got that knowledge for you to grab hold on to, you yourself will go down the same road as them. Why is it then that people do not like people who are different? Because the people who are different don't want to be a uniform thing like everybody else. Who wants to be everybody else? The majority of people now, they read this magazine. A lot of guys read GQ, Gentleman's Quarterly. Quite frankly, I don't want to read those magazines anymore because I already know that I'm a gentleman. So I don't need to read Gentleman's Quarterly. If I'm going to read anything that is going to uplift my knowledge or so, I want to read the scientific magazine, the legal magazine, the whatever that uplifts my knowledge. So I'm bent on speaking about the secret that each of us has inside of us. And I mentioned knowledge. Now, knowledge is fine, but if the knowledge is not truthful, then you can disregard that. Because so much propaganda has been spread, even on the internet, about so many things, and people are running with it. I am not the person to be speaking about the pandemic to say the vaccine is not what is helping. But you can use your own common sense and you can do your own research. There is so much people spreading this gossip. Don't take this vaccine. Don't. That knowledge is running rife throughout the YouTube. Look at so many countries. Look what's happening, for example, in my own country. Look at what's happening in Jamaica. The hospital are running out of oxygen because the majority of the people has not taken the vaccine, and now they're running to take the vaccine. This is a part of knowledge, and this is a part of people spreading the wrong knowledge to people. And if you spread the wrong knowledge and it starts to roam like wildfire, you have total catastrophe, disaster on your hand. And that is what is happening in Jamaica, especially now. So, what should we look for in people when we are looking for them as example with knowledge? We must look for the truth. What is the truth? The truth is, you have to refer back to the Bible, to the truth. Because anything that you want to know, irrespective of what books you've read, and I've started to read quite a few books, but the Bible is the basis for everything that you must go back to. You can have all the different characteristics. You can be rich, whatever you have, just like we said in the rich, the poor, and the wealthy. But if you do not have that knowledge deep inside of you, it's like you are poor. So, what we would like for all our viewers and anyone who view our channel is each time to research and pick a book, maybe a book a month. I think that is very important that we should address that while I'm speaking about book. Because if you pick a book a month from the Reader's Digest, reputable company like that, and don't just read 1 page or 2 pages and throw it down. Because so many people have a library of books and they never read it. Therefore, they cannot receive that knowledge. One is not saying that you have to read all the books that there is, but you must read in depth some of the books in order to get the knowledge that you require for life. Because wisdom, knowledge, and an understanding, it goes together. It's an application. It's something that if you don't have it, how can you give it or impart it? I'm going to use a next example. Can you imagine someone in a household They have no knowledge whatsoever, and they're teaching their children. For a moment, I'm going to pause because that is a serious situation. They are drumming into their children things that they don't even know. And those children are going to grow up and be drumming it into their children. So it's a generation of suicide. It's a generation that is passing on information with no knowledge of truth at all about it. The secret inside each and every one of us. Whenever we are going through perilous time or crisis times, we have to remember that these times have come to test us. The person who gets up after being knocked out on the ground and come back to win the fight shows that he's got what it takes to be a champion. You have got to think you are a champion from day one. And you're going to be faced with these obstacles. You're going to be faced with things that you never dream of. That is part of learning the secret in life. So that when you get to that stage, you can impart it, that knowledge that you have, on someone else. I can remember when I was starting out and I lost the majority of things. I came back to this country with £5 in my pocket. I had a green American Express and £5 in my pocket after coming back from Jamaica. I rented a hotel room, and I'm giving you this example. I rented a hotel room with the American Express, and I bought everything on the American Express because, as you know, you have to pay the bill at the end of the month. Anyway, I started looking for a house, and I used the deposit from the American Express to deposit on a house. I'm not saying that I'm better than anyone else, but I'm telling you that you have to be creative and innovative. And sometimes you have to step over to get what you want. And I can remember when I lost the hotel, I lost all my houses. 2007, 2008. Of course I was devastated. But that too was a learning process. From that loss, as a matter of fact, I am glad that I lost, because I wouldn't have come back on my feet with the knowledge, even if I don't say this conceitedly, from if I didn't have that loss. So a lot of times in life, you're going to have losses. It's part of life. Whoever dare wins. You cannot expect to be a winner if you do not lose many races. You can, a lot of people who win, if you read their stories, it's unbelievable stories. Their stories usually make blockbusters. Their stories usually are bestsellers. Each and every one of us have a bestseller inside of us. We only need to tap into that bestseller. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't do this or you can't do that. As a matter of fact, their opinion of you doesn't really matter. When you're kicked from behind, you know you're in front. The more they kick you is the more you want to keep pushing. Nobody wants you to overtake them. So don't look for friendship. Don't look for people to say, oh, yes, you can join me. You don't want to join anyone. You create your own way in life. You make your life. You are the master of your life. And when you start doing this, it doesn't matter what comes, because you're ready to take it on board. And remember that the knowledge that you find in books, you won't find it anywhere else. I remember, again, when you have a lecturer, and these lecturers with their PhD and masters and everything, and they come into the hall, and it says, right, here's 5 books. I want you to go and read these books. Can you imagine? The professor comes in to tell you to go and read these books, like as if you didn't know that you could read these books. The point I'm making is, everything is in the books. He doesn't have to tell you. You don't need a professor. You don't need a lecturer to get knowledge. No one needs that. You just got to want it more than anybody else. People who have made successful lives are not usually even people who have been to university. Because sometimes when you look at the people who has been, they too are still seeking for a job. Nigeria has got more PhD than anyone else. As a matter of fact, it's almost comical. They've got PhD going right across the road, but they can't get a job. So PhDs don't give you jobs. Masters don't give you a job. The job is inside of you. The secret is inside of you for you to bring it out. And until you do that, you will never be happy with yourself. And when you have your family, if you do, your family will never be truly happy with you. Because in the end, in the conclusion of it all of your life, you'd have known that you did not do what you're supposed to do on this planet. The gift that God gave you, you did not utilize it to its fullness. This is Destiny Global TV. Please subscribe and leave your comment below.